The day before my wedding, I was horrified to discover my hair turning green after a routine shower. Panic set in as I realized someone had tampered with my shampoo. All evidence pointed to one unimaginable culprit, my soon-to-be mother-in-law. As I stood in front of the mirror, grappling with my emerald locks, I knew I had to confront her, but the way I handled it took everyone by surprise. I had to remain calm. That was my utmost priority. If I lost my wits and temper, my wicked mother-in-law would win. I obviously couldn't have that. I took a large breath through my nose and out of my mouth as my eyes scanned over my green locks, and a plan started to form. She would pay for this, and I would make sure of it. But first, I had to fix this. I know she wanted to sabotage me so that I would be embarrassed tomorrow, but I wouldn't give her satisfaction. She probably expected me to race to her house and barge in and accuse her of what I knew she had done. I had no proof, but in my bones, I knew that she had done it. It couldn't be a coincidence. Paula, my future monster-in-law, had been at our home only a day before. She had excused herself to go to the bathroom, taking her bag with her. However, to my surprise, I had seen her climb the stairs to the upstairs bathroom instead of just taking the one on the ground floor. Though it wouldn't be enough proof to convince my fiancé, Mark, it was enough evidence for me to just know it. She had always tried to cause a rift between Mark and me. She thought I was stealing her baby and believed I wasn't good enough for him. To be completely fair, though, I don't think anyone could ever be good enough for her son. This was probably just some last resort to get me to back off. However, she had made a mistake doing this, as now she had made herself enemy number one. As I was calming myself, I thought of all the things I could do to her. I wouldn't show her how she had gotten to me. It shouldn't be too hard to fix this, as I was glad that I had decided to take a shower during the day rather than the evening. I had more than 24 hours to fix this mess, and while I did this, I would set my plan in motion. Though I had to fix this mess, I also had to contact someone who would be very helpful during my revenge plan. My fingers started typing as fast as they could, dialing a number I knew well. I was sure Abby would be able to help me, especially if she still had time today to get all the necessities. "Hello, you are speaking with Abby," I could hear her say through my speakerphone. "Hey Abby, it's Kayla. She has finally stepped too far out of line. I need your help with something." I told her what had just happened, and how I could be sure that it could be none other than my mother-in-law who was behind this. "What a Abby said, after I told her what had happened and what I needed from her. "I'll get you what you want, and I will call Rachel for the change in plans." "What are you planning to do exactly?" Abby asked. And I simply smirked. "Just wait until tomorrow, Abby. You will definitely know it when you see it." After a bit more talking, I hung up the phone after saying goodbye to Abby and looked back at myself in the mirror. "She cannot win," I told myself as I grasped the ends of my hair. I knew what I needed to do for my revenge, and slowly but surely, I would finalize my plan throughout the day. But my hair, my wedding, were more pressing matters for now. I took a video of my hair from all angles. That way I would have proof as I would turn my hair back to normal. Getting my blonde locks back would be nearly impossible, but I was willing to try my hardest. I twisted my hair up and secured it in a bonnet, one I often used for sleep, and made another call. I knew just who could fix this. I snapped my phone shut, heart pounding. "Can't believe this is happening," I muttered, grabbing my keys with shaking hands. The door slammed behind me with a crash that mirrored the chaos inside me. I was done reacting. It was time to take control. As I hit the road, my resolve hardened. Paula wouldn't know what hit her. The mall parking lot was almost comforting in its normalcy as I pulled in, the bright lights promising a distraction from the madness. "Just a little break," I told myself, stepping out of the car. Inside, the familiar clatter and bustle might just drown out the storm of thoughts about sabotaged shampoos and wedding day disasters. I was almost to the entrance when Megan appeared, her smile a little too eager. "Kayla, "Fancy seeing you here," she exclaimed, eyes darting to my bonnet. I forced a smile, "Just picking up a few things for tomorrow." Her tone was casual, but her gaze was anything but. As her gaze lingered on my headwear, curiosity written all over her face. "A bonnet? That's a curious choice for today," Megan said, her tone light but probing. I laughed, touching the fabric lightly. "Yeah, it's, part of a surprise for tomorrow. You know, wedding stuff." I tried to keep it breezy, hoping she'd drop it. Her eyes narrowed playfully. "Oh? A surprise? Now I'm intrigued." I stepped back, my smile fixed. "Really, I gotta run, so much to do," I insisted, edging past her. Megan stepped closer, her interest clearly piqued. "Come on, just a tiny hint," she pressed, reaching out to gently grab my arm, stopping me in my tracks. I laughed nervously, trying to keep things light. Megan's fingers twitched towards my bonnet, her eyes alight with mischief. "Can I just have a little peek?" she whispered, almost playfully. I instinctively stepped back, adjusting the bonnet. "Oh no, you don't," I laughed, swatting her hand away gently. "It's top secret, you know, bride-to-be stuff." Her curiosity wasn't waning, but I kept the mood light. "Imagine if I spoiled the surprise now, Megan. How dull would that be tomorrow?" I teased, steering the conversation towards safer topics like the upcoming ceremony and the guests. "You'll love the setup, promise," I added, hoping to distract her with details she could actually look forward to. Megan nodded, but I could tell she was still burning with curiosity. "Well, I guess I'll see it tomorrow then," she conceded. Seizing the opportunity, I checked my watch exaggeratedly. "Oh, look at the time. I really must dash. Last-minute errands, you know." I gave her a quick, reassuring smile, preparing to make my getaway. I turned on my heel and quickened my pace, weaving through the crowd. Behind me, Megan's eyes tracked my every move, her presence lingering like a shadow. I didn't look back, the distance growing with each step as I moved closer to the sanctuary of anonymity among the bustling mall-goers. Once I rounded a corner and Megan was out of sight, I let out a long, slow breath I didn't realize I was holding. The tension in my shoulders eased as I blended into the crowd, my mind shifting from dodging Megan's probes to the more pressing issue, fixing my hair before the wedding day dawned. The sense of urgency returned, but for now, at least, I was free to focus. I slipped on a pair of dark sunglasses as I approached the hair salon, hoping they'd offer some anonymity. "Can't have any more family spies spotting me today," I murmured to myself, adjusting the frames. The busy street buzzed around me, but the glasses made me feel just a bit more shielded, a bit more prepared to face what came next. As soon as I stepped through the salon doors, a familiar face greeted me. "Kayla, right this way," the receptionist whispered, urgency in her eyes. She quickly ushered me through the bustling main floor towards a more secluded area at the back. "We've got you covered," she assured me, glancing around to make sure no prying eyes followed us. I reached back, pulling off the bonnet and revealing the disaster beneath to Samantha. Her eyes widened momentarily before she regained her professional composure. "Wow, that's quite the shade of green," she commented, her voice a mix of sympathy and resolve as she examined the damage closely. "Let's see what we can do about this," she added, her tone reassuring. Samantha ran her fingers through my green strands, her frown deepening. "Going back to blonde by tomorrow isn't on the cards," she admitted. "But I'm not letting you walk down the aisle like this." She paused, then a spark of determination lit up her eyes. "I have an idea. Trust me, you'll love it," she promised, her confidence infectious. "All right, let's do this," I said, nodding, trusting her expertise completely. Samantha smiled and pulled around a folding screen for privacy from onlookers outside. As she began to work her magic behind the screen, I could only see her moving swiftly in the mirror. The sounds of sprays and the snipping of scissors filled the air, blending with my hopeful heartbeat. Just as I was starting to relax under Samantha's expert hands, my phone shattered the calm with its sharp ring. I jumped, the noise slicing through the hum of hairdryers and chatter. Fumbling, I grabbed the phone from my purse, the caller ID flashing Mark's name. "Hey," I answered, trying to keep my voice steady despite the sudden nerves. "Hey, where are you?" Mark's voice was light, but carried an undertone of curiosity that made me tense. I could picture him, brows slightly furrowed, phone pressed against his ear. I adjusted the phone, glancing at Samantha. "Just running some last-minute errands," I replied, hoping my voice sounded more casual than I felt. "Yeah, just tying up a few loose ends before tomorrow," I continued, brushing a strand of hair that wasn't there behind my ear. "I can't wait to see you at the altar, Mark." My words were sincere, tinged with the excitement of our impending day. "Me too, Kayla. Love you," he said softly before we ended the call. No sooner had I put my phone down than it buzzed again. This time it was a text from Abby. "Everything's set. I got everyone you asked for." I stared at the message, a shiver running down my spine. This was it. There was no turning back now. I locked my phone, a determined breath escaping my lips. My heart pounded with a cocktail of anticipation and a flicker of revenge. I glanced at the mirror, foils now hiding Samantha's work, my mind a whirlwind of thoughts about tomorrow. Every bit of strange colored goop smeared on my strands was a step closer to the new me and to face Paula. "Just wait," I whispered to myself, a smirk tugging at the corners of my mouth. Samantha twirled the final strand of my hair, stepping back to admire her work. The mirror revealed a rich, vibrant, coppery brown cascading down my shoulders, completely transformed and absolutely stunning. "You did magic, Samantha," I marveled, the color shining under the salon lights. She just winked. "You'll be the most gorgeous bride." Despite loving my new look, I knew it needed to stay under wraps, as it was now to be a surprise for everyone if I wanted my plan to succeed. Carefully, I adjusted the bonnet over my freshly dyed hair, ensuring no strand peeked out. "Just one more day," I reminded myself, feeling the fabric secure against my head. The secret of my hair's transformation was safe for now. As I pushed through the salon's glass doors, the last people I expected to see were Paula and her husband, Jack. My heart skipped a beat, but I masked my surprise with a neutral expression. They were just stepping out of a nearby shop, and our paths crossed too perfectly, almost as if fate enjoyed irony. Paula's eyes immediately locked onto my bonnet, a flash of suspicion crossing her features. Jack's glance was more curious than accusatory, his head tilting slightly. "Kayla, what's with the headgear?" he joked lightly. But Paula's stare intensified, searching for clues. I touched the bonnet, smiling slyly. "Oh, just keeping things under wraps for now." "Tomorrow's going to be full of surprises," I said, my tone light but edged with teasing. Paula's eyes narrowed, not quite hiding her irritation. "We're all looking forward to it," she replied, her voice a mix of forced cheer and underlying tension. I nodded, my smile broadening. "You won't want to miss it," I added, as my mind whirled. It seemed like Megan had already told the family that she had seen me here. Paula's smirk flickered across her face, a gleam of satisfaction in her eyes, as if she was already savoring what she thought would be my embarrassment. I noticed the barely suppressed glee, knowing she expected a spectacle. Little did she know, the real show was yet to come. I kept my smile, my own secret thrilling quietly within me. Jack's brows furrowed slightly as he looked at my bonnet again. "That seems a bit much, though, right? Especially with the bonnet and everything." He asked, genuine curiosity in his voice. I leaned in slightly. lowering my voice as if sharing a confidential secret. It's a surprise for the wedding, especially for Mark. I'd hate for anyone to spoil it. I winked, hoping to convey an air of playful intrigue. Maintaining my cheerful facade, I clasped my hands together, expressing genuine enthusiasm. "I'm really excited to see you both at the wedding," I exclaimed. "It's going to be such a beautiful day, and I can't wait for everyone to see everything we've planned." My tone was bright, my smile fixed, even as my heart raced with the weight of the coming day. But most of all, Paula couldn't think I knew the green hair disaster had been her doing. With the pleasantries exchanged, I nodded politely, my face calm. "Well, I better get going. Lots to prepare for tomorrow," I said, stepping back. "Can't wait to celebrate with everyone," I added, giving them one last smile. Turning away, I felt their eyes on me, but I walked steadily, keeping every ounce of my anxiety hidden beneath a layer of composed excitement. As I slid into the driver's seat of my car, I let out a deep breath, feeling the weight of their gazes lift as I drove away. My heart hammered in my chest with every mile I put between us, the pieces of my plan settling into place. Each turn of the wheels brought me closer to tomorrow, to revelation and retribution. The game was nearly afoot. The road to Abby's house stretched under the beam of my headlights, each mile thrumming with the buzz of my anxious planning. I rehearsed every detail in my mind, going over what needed to be done, what could go wrong, and how I would handle it. My hands gripped the steering wheel tightly, my nerves tingling with anticipation and a hint of fear for what tomorrow would bring. As I pulled up to Abby's place, the sound of laughter and music spilled out into the cool evening air. Stepping inside, I was immediately enveloped in the warmth of my closest friends. "There she is, the bride-to-be!" Abby exclaimed, pulling me into a hug that melted some of the tension from my shoulders. The familiarity of their faces was a balm to my frayed nerves. Our girls' night unfolded with an easy joy, filled with giggles, shared memories, and playful banter about the wedding details. "Can you believe it's actually happening?" Rachel teased, passing me another decoration to inspect. We talked outfits, guests, and some not-so-subtle digs at my future mother-in-law, each laugh bringing us closer to the dawn of a life-changing day. The morning light crept through the curtains as we began to dress. I carefully placed the bonnet over my head, covering the vibrant coppery locks that no one else had seen. "This is going to be epic," I whispered to my reflection, a mix of nerves and excitement dancing in my stomach. The girls nodded, each busy with their own preparations, the air thick with anticipation. Together we stepped out, the early morning air crisp against our skin. "This is it, girls," I said, leading the way to the car. We piled in, the atmosphere charged with the energy of the day ahead. As we drove towards the venue, I felt a surge of courage. Today, everything would change, and I was ready to face whatever came my way. As soon as we arrived at the venue, I pulled my makeup artist and hairstylist aside. "There's a bit of a situation," I began, explaining the sabotage and the need for discretion today. Their eyes widened as they listened, but they nodded understandingly. "We've got your back, Kayla," my stylist assured me, her tone firm yet supportive. "Let's make this a day to remember," she added with a wink. My team gathered around, their faces a mixture of concern and determination. "We're all in," my makeup artist said, her voice steady. "Whatever you need, we're here to make it happen." Knowing I had their full support lifted a weight off my shoulders. We went over the details once more, ensuring everyone knew their roles. The plan was set, and so were we. The room hushed slightly as Paula entered, her cream-colored dress stark against the colorful backdrop of the venue. I caught her scanning the room, her gaze lingering on my preparations. Keeping my expression neutral, I pretended to adjust a floral arrangement, avoiding direct eye contact. "Just keep it cool," I murmured to myself, feeling the tension rise. Paula approached, her smile tight as she assessed my bonnet-clad head. "Exciting day, isn't it?" she commented, trying to sound casual. I nodded, offering a smile. "Absolutely. Can't wait for everyone to see what's planned," I replied, keeping my tone light and breezy. Inside, my heart raced, but outwardly, I was the picture of calm. As Paula drifted away, I caught my team's eyes. Each glance shared between us was loaded with unspoken understanding. Today was more than just a wedding. It was a statement: if she were to mess with me, she would get the horns. We exchanged small nods, a silent pact among us. Today would indeed be unforgettable, and with that, our resolve solidified. We were ready. The room fell silent as I reached up to slowly remove the bonnet. All eyes fixed on me. The fabric lifted, revealing the rich, vibrant brown locks beneath. A collective murmur rippled through the crowd. My hair shimmered under the lights, the dramatic change drawing gasps and whispers. I turned to Mark, his favorite color now framing my face, and his smile told me everything I needed to know. As whispers continued, I took a moment to address everyone. "I wanted to surprise Mark with this," I explained, running my fingers through my new brown hair. "He's always loved this shade on me." Mark's eyes met mine, filled with warmth and love. It was a small, personal rebellion against the chaos that had tried to mar our day. Paula, standing off to the side, managed to smile, though it barely concealed the tightness in her eyes. Her attempt to remain poised was palpable as she clutched her purse a little tighter. I could almost feel the cogs turning in her head, recalculating her steps after seeing my confidence undimmed by her scheme. Her facade of calm was cracking, but she held it together, barely. Eventually, Paula made her way to the makeup chair, her movements stiff and reluctant. As the makeup artist approached, her discomfort was evident. She shifted uneasily, her usual haughty demeanor replaced by a visible wariness. "Just a light touch-up, please," she murmured, barely hiding her anxiety as she glanced in the mirror, then quickly away. The atmosphere around us buzzed with excitement and a touch of electricity as the final preparations swung into full gear. The team worked seamlessly, their movements swift and confident. Around me, friends and family chatted and laughed, the air thick with anticipation for the ceremony to begin. Despite Paula's palpable tension, the joy of the day was infectious, reinforcing the strength of our collective spirit. As the last guest settled, Abby slipped next to me, her face clouded with concern. "Is everything still on track?" she whispered, glancing around nervously. Her confusion about the finer details of our plan was evident, the weight of secrecy pressing on her. She glanced at Paula, who looked perfectly undisturbed. Abby had no idea that my plans would commence during the reception. I leaned closer to Abby, speaking softly to avoid drawing attention. "Everything's going exactly as planned," I assured her, squeezing her hand gently. "Just stick to the script, and it'll all unfold perfectly." Her eyes searched mine for a moment before she nodded, a relieved smile breaking through her initial worry. The music swelled, signaling the start of the ceremony. As I walked down the aisle, the setting was breathtaking, flowers everywhere, soft music floating through the air, and all faces turned towards us, beaming with joy. The love in the room was palpable, each moment more beautiful than the last, weaving together into a tapestry of celebration and promise. As I reached Mark, his gaze fixed on me, taking in every detail. When his eyes landed on my hair, his reaction was everything I hoped for. His face lit up with a mixture of surprise and admiration. "You look incredible," he mouthed, the warmth in his eyes affirming my choice. This moment, this connection, made all the chaos worth it. Our vows were exchanged under an arch of white blooms, our voices steady with emotion. "I promise to love and cherish you," we each declared, our hands locked together. As we spoke, the crowd's excitement for the ceremony shifted, tinged with anticipation for what was to come. The air was charged, every guest unwittingly on the cusp of witnessing something truly unforgettable. As the ceremony concluded, guests transitioned to the reception area, their chatter filled with eager speculation and excitement. The room was beautifully decorated, but the air carried a current of suspense that went beyond typical wedding festivities. Everyone seemed to sense that the evening held more surprises, their eyes darting around in anticipation of what was yet to unfold. The clinking of glasses called for silence, and I took the stage, my heart thundering in my chest. As I looked out over the crowd of family and friends, my nerves tightened, but my resolve strengthened. "Thank you all for being here," I started, my voice steady, feeling the weight of the moment that was more than just about gratitude. It was about revenge. I continued with the speeches, my words flowing with gratitude for everyone's efforts. Turning to Paula, I smiled warmly. "And a special thanks to Paula, who inspired me to dare to be different today," I said, my eyes locking with hers. "You truly set the stage for today's theme," I added, the room hanging on every word, unaware of the depth of my statement. The lights dimmed suddenly and black lights flickered to life, casting an eerie glow over the room. I paused, letting the suspense build, then spoke clearly into the microphone. "Though green isn't my color, it certainly is yours, Paula." The room held its breath, waiting for the punchline of my cryptic toast. As the black light settled, gasps echoed through the room. Paula, illuminated under the new lighting, glowed a vivid neon green, her hair shining brightly. Silly drawings on her face and neck, invisible under normal light, now stood out comically. The crowd's shock turned into laughter and murmurs, the spectacle of Paula's unwitting transformation taking center stage, making this wedding truly unforgettable. Confusion rippled through the room as Paula touched her glowing hair, her face turning from shock to realization. The whispers grew louder, the guests piecing together the evening's events with wide eyes and dropped jaws. Paula looked around, her expression crumbling as she understood the full extent of the prank. Her earlier schemes backfiring spectacularly in the most public way possible. I stepped off the stage, finding Mark in the crowd. His face mixed amusement with concern. "Kayla, what happened?" he asked, pulling me aside. I took a deep breath. "It was a lesson," I explained. "After what she did with my shampoo, I had to stand up somehow." Mark listened intently, his initial shock softening into understanding as he grasped the reasons behind my actions. Mark's face hardened as he turned to confront his mother. "Mom, what you did was unacceptable," he began, his voice firm and unwavering. "Kayla and I are a team, and undermining her undermines us." The silence that followed was thick, every guest hanging on the tense exchange. Paula's face fell, remorse replacing defiance as Mark set clear boundaries in defense of our union. After a long moment, Paula's shoulders sagged. I'm sorry," she stuttered, her voice barely above a whisper, but audible in the hushed room. "I let my fears get the better of me," she admitted, her eyes meeting mine, filled with genuine regret. It wasn't just an apology for the prank, but an acknowledgement of all she had put me through. The wedding continued, the earlier tension dissolving into a night of celebration and newfound understanding. Laughter and music filled the air, replacing whispers and shock. As the evening drew to a close, guests commented not just on the unforgettable spectacle, but on the unexpected unity that emerged from the day's events. It was a wedding that would be remembered, not just for the vows, but for the valuable lessons learned in love and forgiveness.